Happy Friday, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and today I'm going to guide you through mind-body connection, and we're just going to let go of all of our mental and physical stress the best that we can and move into the weekend. We got about 3 minutes till we get started. I'm right there with you. I'm not quite ready yet. So much going on. So take these next 3 minutes to set up your space, maybe a little aromatherapy, maybe dimming the lights. Make sure that you're wearing something comfortable so that you can move. Oh my gosh, I'm just realizing with disarray things are still in from shooting in a different part of the apartment yesterday. I do recommend that you bring a strap to today's class. We're going to continue to focus on getting some big stretches into the shoulders. I know I am one of many people who was so thrilled to be able to access the COVID vaccine yesterday. I know a lot of people have been getting the opportunity to be vaccinated lately, and the pain in the shoulder is no joke. So while we did do some great shoulder stretches on Wednesday in yin, there were so many more that we did not have time to get to. We're going to work on some of those today. We got 2 minutes till we get started, so just create your space and just do the best that you can. Do the best you can. Only the two of us. Making my space smell delicious. I love me some aromatherapy because I really do find that when it smells nice in here, I want to take longer breaths. I lit some incense the other night. I didn't keep it burning, just a little, to create a nice smell in my bedroom, and man, I passed out immediately. It smelled so good. Oh my gosh, shoulder. Make sure you have that strap. Make sure you have some blocks or some cushions or whatever you need around. Make sure you brought your bird or your children or your roommates. Don't give any mice cookies though, because if you give a mouse a cookie, and then he might ask for a glass of milk, and you know how that goes, right? Oh, that's not nice, Fred. On the wings of love, only the two of us. I clearly don't know that song. Great, y'all. It's that magical time. I'm so thrilled you're able to join me today, creating some space in your life for your medical and physical health. I love yoga. What's that? And I'm just so glad that you can join me for today's practice. So once again, make sure that you have some sort of a strap or a long sleeve shirt, or if you don't have a strap, I mean, you can be so creative. I've even got a scarf-like blanket nearby. You can always use a scarf-like blanket because we're going to find some opening of our shoulders. But we're going to get started relaxed on the floor. Excuse you, Fred. In Sukhasana. If you find the Sukhasana is uncomfortable for you, or maybe you're joining me in perfect pose, just being a little more closed in. Oh my gosh, what a terrible name for a yoga posture, as if any of the other postures are anything less than perfect. Start to just take notice of how your body feels today. And know that whatever you're feeling, whether it be amazing or stressed and sad, that it's okay. It's okay to feel the feelings. It's so good to just recognize them. I want you to start to ground your sit bones into the floor. Use your inhale to create a little extra length from your spine. So really stretching the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Notice as you find that engaging stretch that you feel a little encouraged, that it feels good to start to draw your belly in and bring attention to your back. Are you hinging forward a lot? Are you creating any extra rounding or any wrinkles in your neck, stretching your chin up towards the ceiling? If so, find that neutral chin. Think about leaning back, but notice if you're leaning back too much, if you're creating rounding in the opposite direction, maybe placing your hands on your knees. And remember, if they're coming up towards your ears, you can sit yourself up. Even simply taking a towel or a blanket and folding the blanket up. It might seem like nothing, but just this little bit of a lift under your seat can help you find a little more openness in your hips and start to relax those knees a little more towards the floor. All right. Think about knitting your rib cage together. I know I've been talking a lot about that idea lately, but just noticing if when you go to stand tall and proud, if you open your chest and your rib cage flares, finding a little bit more support, especially for that upper back, by working to pull the belly in, to pull the rib cage together. There's still so much space for breath, for movement, for length, and for some contraction. Let's spend one more minute here. You're going to enjoy it silently. Now's a good time to think about a mantra for today's class. Today my mantra is going to be, I love myself just the way I am, and I'm so thankful for everything in my life. Great job. Beautiful stillness, great silence. Nice just focus on yourself. Sorry, y'all. It's been a hard week, but we'll talk about that another time. Continue to focus on this beautiful slow breath. If you find yourself overwhelmed at all, remember you can always come back to Sukhasana, come back to stillness of the body, come back to the slow breathing to return to the stillness of the mind. All right. Continue to find as much length as you can through the crown of your head while keeping your shoulders released away from your ears. And notice if during your breath, if during those inhales, your shoulders naturally start to rise. That's a big sign of stress. So really do your best to allow your elbows to hang heavy down towards the floor, to take some pride in lifting up your heart and knowing that you are doing your best. And your best is always enough. All right, let's find a little stretch of the neck. So on your next inhale, go ahead, lift your chin up towards the ceiling as much as you can without finding any strain or change in your back posture. And on your exhale, the full length of your exhale, gently bring your chin down to your chest. You can take a moment here pausing without beginning your inhale, but once that inhale begins, as slow as you can and the full length of breath, send your chin up towards the ceiling, and on your exhale, bring your chin back down to your chest. We'll do 3 more just like that. Finish this last exhale, take your time, and on your next inhale, lift your head back up to neutral. We're just gonna shake our heads gently, saying no to all the BS in our lives. So use your inhale, turn your chin towards the right side, still keeping that chest lifted, little engagement of the back, and a draw in of your abdominal core, ribcage knit. And as you change your breath, turn yourself over to the other side. So you're working on having that nice lifted chest, flat back, solid posture, as if there was a wall against your back. And you're just gently pressing yourself against it as straight as you can be. We're going for a total of 5 times, just turning the head in each direction. And once you finish up with what I believe is our 5th twist here, go ahead, bring your head back down to center. All right, use a big inhale, find some length once again. Make sure that core is still contracted, and your exhale, tuck your chin down to your chest. This time going more for a roll of the ear, so bring your right ear to your right shoulder, and then tucking that chin to your chest, making sure you still have that nice flat back as if it's leaning against the imaginary wall behind you. This is our last time doing this simply neck-focused movement. Taking your time, so really moving as slowly as possible and bringing that pace into your breath as well. Make sure you're getting all of the stale air out on each exhale. Think about your exhales, your body just letting go of all of the emotions that you don't need, that don't serve you, that don't help. All of the concerns and fears and worries and things that we're not actually in control of, that we just stress about. Or, I mean, I do. So I'm presuming other people do too. All right, let's do one more time. And then as your chin comes back through to the center, inhale, lift your head up. Let's get a nice little stretch on the back, so bring your hands down to the floor in front of you. Starting with a flat back, start to walk your hands forward. If your lower back is feeling tired or super sore, just continue to enjoy this supported hinge with your hands on the floor. Or maybe if the floor feels really far away, you have your hands on a prop. There's no shame in using a prop to just make sure you're being as smart as possible for your body today. But take wrinkles out of your neck, so no need to create an extra stretch through your chin. Find that squeeze of your shoulder blades together. If your hands are all the way down on the floor and it feels good for you, if you've already walked forward to create some length, you can bring some rounding into the stretch. Make sure that you don't allow your sit bones to come off of the floor. So if you found yourself pulling forward and rolling onto your knees, come back to maybe a little bit more lifted length. Remember, it's okay to have some rounding of the lower back and keep those wrinkles out of your neck, maybe even that extra big stretch through your shoulders, allowing your head to hang heavy down towards the floor. Your arms can walk out as far in front of you as feels good on those shoulders today. And with your sit bones still ground, ooh, ow, take your time and walk your hands all the way over to the left. Wow, speaking for the vaccinated crowd, I am honestly surprised at how challenging receiving this shot right into the deltoid is. So just take your time. Okay, while we're here over on the left hand side, so if you walked over to the right hand side, just do the opposite of what I'm about to tell you. On the left hand side, work to draw that right shoulder up. So your sit bones are still grounded, but instead of squaring your chest down towards the floor, think about working to open the chest to the wall in front of you. It's going to create an extra stretch all through the right side of the body, really into the lower back. You can stay here with your hands supported on the floor if your shoulders feeling good. If you're ready for a little bit more challenge, we're going to lift that right hand up. Oof, reach it a little bit extra, like you're trying to touch the wall. Like the wall is so close while still keeping that sit bone ground. And then we're going to inhale and rainbow our arm all the way up and either reach it towards the wall behind you, or you can take a bend in your elbow and bring your right hand towards your hip. Still having that left hand ground on the floor and really just working to open that chest and find some length through the crown of your head. Use your inhale to find that big rainbow arc, and use your exhale to bring your hand down towards the floor. Really find that extra stretch here. One more time, stretch through the right side of the body, right glute, right sit bone down towards the floor, right shoulder towards that opposite wall. One more time, let's inhale, make that big rainbow arch. You can either bend your arm, elbows drawing back, and your hand comes towards your hip, or you're reaching that arm back, a little extra stretch in the pec. And then inhale all the way up, find that big lift, and then exhale back down. Take your time, walk your hands back to center, and walk your hands all the way over to the right. Oof. Take a moment here with the stretch. Notice if you're like me, I got over here, I was so relaxed, my shoulders drew back up towards my ears because that's where they feel comfortable when I'm stressed, but I don't want to wear any earrings right now, so press into your hands, palms, and then press through that left glute. You'll feel your back engaged as you work to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Your chest comes a little more forward towards your biceps, and take those wrinkles out of your neck. So make sure you're not lifting your chin up towards the ceiling. Eye gaze is towards the tip of your nose. Awesome. Experiment with this stretch in the upper body, placing a little bit more pressure in the right hand and then in the left hand, just shifting the stack of your shoulders. And let's get it ready. We're going to do two big rainbow arches on this side. So keeping your right hand down, you're going to inhale your left arm up, opening up that chest, and either reach your left hand all the way back behind you, or you bend at the elbow and you bring your hand towards your hips, so you're still drawing that shoulder back and down. Inhale, come back up through center, getting a nice stretch into those obliques as well. Place your left hand on the floor. Work to open up that chest a little bit more, and then one more time, inhale. Big rainbow arc up towards the back. And inhale back up towards the ceiling. And exhale, hands down to the floor. Take your time, walk yourself back through center. Walk your hands back towards you. We'll just do one more little stretch with our legs folded, and then we'll open our legs nice and wide so we can start to stretch those hamstrings. Go ahead, inhale your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Release your shoulders from your ears, but still find that big lift up. Ground your sit bones to the floor and engage your core once more. Bring your fingertips down to your shoulders. One last time with some big shoulder circles. So inhale, pulling your elbows forward and up, and exhale, back and down. Check back in with your rib cage. So while we're still finding this big stretch of the elbows, we're making sure that we're not splaying that rib cage all the way out. Like I just did in that last one, that was a big splay out. So maybe your arms don't go quite as much around while you really focus on that contraction of your abdominal core. Let's do one more in this direction. And as your arms come down towards the floor, get ready to change the direction. Still finding length through the crown of your head, working to press the outsides of the knees to the floor. Maybe you're starting to feel even more of a stretch with this lift through your core and lower half. Stretch into the hip flexors. Wow. And for the vaccinated crowd who might have just received their shots with me, just bring in some love to those tired shoulders. Awesome. Next time you come through, relax your hands down to the floor. Take your time. We're going to go ahead and kick those legs open into full dragonfly. Open your legs as wide as feels good for you today. You can still be lifted on some sort of a prop. I'm loving this scarf under my bum. It's not quite as high as the block. Sometimes I feel like the block causes me to create pressure in my knees when I'm really lifted and finding a hamstring stretch. This just feels like a delightful bit of support. Still getting a great stretch on those inner outer thighs into the hip flexor as well. Flex your toes back towards your face and go ahead, grab your strap. Let's get one more big shoulder stretch while we're hanging out here. So take a moment and notice what's happening with your body. Are you finding yourself leaning forward? Are you making some sort of awkward lean back? Maybe you have to find an awkward lean back because your hamstrings are so tight that you need to bend your knees. I want you to bring that spine straight up towards the ceiling. Grab your scarf, your shirt, your trash bag, whatever you're using as a strap. Pull your belly in, find that lifted length. Finding that lifted length is going to increase the stretch on the back of your legs. Let's go ahead, slowly inhale our arms up. And exhale, bring those arms down behind you. We're just going to do 5 times. Inhale up. Exhale down. Bring some attention and love to your rib cage. That was one. You're moving at your own pace. Exhale down. Make sure you're not adding any extra crinks to your neck. So just finding a spot to focus your eyes in front of you. Really just working on that beautiful posture. Inhale up. Making sure as you inhale up, once again, the shoulders are not creeping up towards your ears. So shoulder blades are seated down your back and towards each other. And rib cage tight. Last 2. Final one. I don't know, I got a little lost there in how nice this was actually feeling on my tight shoulder. No matter what, we're going to bring those arms back up overhead one more time, still using that strap. So just inhale up. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Pull that rib cage in and gently lean over to the right as much as possible. As much as feels good without collapsing down to the right. So still finding some big lifted length. Inhale back up to center. Exhale over to the left. And inhale back up to center. Great, go ahead. Relax your arms down, bring your hands in front of you. We're gonna walk ourselves forward as much as feels good for you today. The more that you walk yourself forward, the more you're gonna feel that stretch along the back of your legs. Once again, option to take some rounding once you have found your length. You can even relax and release your head down to the floor. It feels so good. With my arms and forearms down on the floor, I can take a gentle press of the elbows into the floor and really enhance the rounding in my lower and upper back, a little bit of a cat feeling posture. All right, we're gonna do the same walk all the way over to the right side. Find a place to brace your hand. Maybe it's in front of your leg. Maybe you can hold onto your foot. Maybe you have to bring your hand much closer up towards your thigh. Maybe you have your prop nearby still and you can place your forearm on it. We're gonna reach the right hand up towards the ceiling. Keep flexing those toes up towards the ceiling. You can even reach that right arm overhead. Bring the stretch a little more throughout the side of the body, down through the hip. If you went for this extra reach, inhale back up towards the ceiling. Exhale your hand down towards the floor, turn towards your left leg. Squeeze square your chest with your thigh, with your shin, and then gently take your time. Let's walk all the way over to the right. So once again, find what feels good for you. Think about using that prop. Remember, each side's different. Maybe one side is a little bit more open. Make sure that as you come over to this opposite side, you're not just lifting yourself up and losing the contact of the opposite glute to the floor. Great. Go ahead, inhale. Left arm up towards the ceiling. It's a little bit easier, a little less of a stretch. If you want a little bit more, reach your left hand over towards the right wall. See how much you can really open that chest as well. So once again, pressing your back against an imaginary wall behind you. Inhale, lift your arm up to the ceiling. Exhale, turn, square yourself to the floor in front of you. Walk your hands back to center. One more option to relax into this big forward fold. Go ahead, walk your hands back in. And let's change it up just a little bit. Go ahead, fold your legs over towards the side. Take a moment here in deer pose. We'll get a little deer pose, a little extra stretch in the hips. Another good opportunity to bring a stretch to the lower back. So I have both of my legs somewhere in like a 90 degree pattern, depending on how tight you're feeling, where you want to feel the stretch. If you want to bring it a little bit more into the quad of the back leg, you can even fold that heel all the way in, close towards your glute, maybe even using your hand to move your calf meat out of the way, because I do want you to work to bring the back leg glute down to the floor. I'm going to go for a little bit more 90-90. Focus more on the stretch happening in the hip flexor and through the back side as opposed to just in the shin, quad. All right, bring your left hand down to the floor. We're going to inhale, right arm up towards the ceiling and reach it over. Maybe you can again release yourself a little closer towards the floor and make sure that you're still pressing through this right glute towards the floor and bringing the stretch towards your lower back. To feel it more in the lower back, turn your chest down towards the floor. Feel how that brings the stretch more through the upper back down to the glute, and then open yourself back up towards the ceiling like you're a beautiful ballerina. I, in general, happen to carry a lot of my stress and tension in my upper back. I know we tend to store a lot of sadness in our hips, a lot of emotions in the lower body, and we don't always notice it, and I do feel like we do really notice how much our shoulders tend to hurt. All right, one more time, come on down. Let's go ahead and lift ourselves up. Bring your hands behind you. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor. So knees come up towards the ceiling. Just windshield wipe your legs right and left. Find a little heart opener right here. Keeping that heart open to all the possibilities, all the good vibes that are out there. If you believe it, it's real. Whatever it is that you're feeling, if you're manifesting the good intentions, or if you're just like putting out the best juju that you possibly can. All right, let's come into our deer pose on the opposite side. So once again, coming into the 90 degree, or enjoying that quad stretch with the back heel closer towards your glute. Find some length, find some engagement. We're going to release our right hand down towards the floor and find the big stretch through the left hand. I'm going to bring that forearm down. Make sure you're still working to bring this right glute to the mat. It might not touch all the way. You might even need to put a little bit of a prop underneath of it to make sure you're getting a little bit of support. And the more that you really sit into it, the more you're going to start to feel that hip opening. We're going to bring the forearm down to our block or the mat as you can. Make sure you didn't collapse in your chest. So once again, find some length, and with that length, lift your left arm up, reach it overhead, turn yourself down towards the floor like a beautiful ballerina. As you turn towards the floor, you're really enhancing the rounding of that upper back and the separation of your shoulders. And then you open up, you squeeze them together, your belly pulls in again for some support. Let's do just a couple more times. And then as you're ready, relaxing and releasing your left hand back down towards the floor. Go ahead, bring your hands in front of you, pull yourself up, come into tabletop. I'm just going to turn this way so I have some idea what time it is. From here in tabletop, we're going to give ourselves a couple cat-cows. So one more time to just really notice how your body is feeling. Make sure that those arms stay straight here. Elbows aren't overextended, but they are engaged. So really pushing into your hands, palms, making sure again that you're not wearing your shoulders as earrings, and finding as much rounding and also arching of the back as possible. Explore gently shaking your cow's tail. Seeing how that feels on your sides, on your glutes and your shoulders. If you notice you need a little bit extra love in your lower half, maybe giving yourself some nice big circles through your hips here. If you know your shoulders are still really tired, or you want to give a little extra stretch and attention to your wrists, giving yourself some circles of your shoulders. Make sure whatever you do in one direction, that you do it in the opposite direction as well. Just a little free movement. There's no such thing as doing the wrong thing here for cat-cow. Just find what works for you. All right, next up we're going to come into an extended child's pose. So option to bring your toes together and open your knees a little bit wider to create some space for your belly. Walk your hands forward as far as feels good for you today. If that does not feel good on your shoulders, remember you can always fold your arms in, taking a generous bend of your elbows, and if that still feels like too much on your shoulders, you can reach your hands back towards the floor behind you and come into tadpole. Take a scan of your body from head to toe while we're hanging out here in child's pose, and relax as much as you can. Notice if you're creating any extra tension in your glutes, in your breath. And on your next inhale, pull yourself back up to tabletop. Let's get one more big shoulder stretch, and then we'll get a little bit more into the lower body, into the hips and hamstrings. So we're going to do some thread the needle right here. So go ahead, keep your left hand down on the floor. Press into your hands, palms. Find as flat of a back as you possibly can. And draw your lower belly in, contraction of the abdominal cord. It helps to make that happen by actively pressing your knees, your shins, even a little bit of the tops of your toes into the floor instead of being passive with the lower half of your body. All right, so left hand stays down. Eyes are going to follow as you slowly inhale and stretch your right hand up towards the ceiling. And when you're ready to exhale, right hand's going to come underneath the body, palm faces up, and gently lower your right shoulder down towards the floor. We'll add a little bit of the broken wing into this shoulder stretch. So go ahead, inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling. Bend at the elbow, bring your left hand fingertips close by your right hip, and draw them up towards your back ribs as much as feels possible. Really work to pull your right shoulder, left shoulder, gently towards that imaginary wall behind you. And then once again, create that length. So make sure that your shoulders aren't staying creeped up
or from gravity drawing towards your chin or your cheek. Elbow is stretching towards the ceiling and the back of the room at the same time, so kind of towards the corner. It's okay if your hips shift to the right. Find that length through your spine for 2 more breaths. On your next inhale, lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Bring it back down on the floor. Find some support. Place it under your shoulder. Press into your hand palm. Inhale your right arm all the way up. Find that twist, that lifted leg. And use your whole exhale as dramatic and slowly as possible to return your right hand down to the floor. Give yourself another cat-cow. Shake it out. Think about just like shaking that awesome stretch, that love through the rest of your body, making sure that it mixes all the way down to your toes. Okay. Go ahead this time, keep your right hand on the floor, pull your belly in, press your knees into the mat, little contraction of the glutes as well. We're going to inhale, left arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Let your eyes look up towards the beautiful ceiling, shoulders away from ears already. Draw your belly in and take your time. Exhale the whole length of your breath to bring your left shoulder down towards the mat. Left shoulder comes towards the mat. Weight can shift gently towards the left. We're going to inhale, right arm up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bend at your elbow. Back of the fingertips come towards the left hip. And then maybe that's as close as you can get. Maybe your left hand is barely touching your glutes, but maybe you can draw those fingers a little further up your back. Release your shoulders from your ears. Stretch that elbow to the back corner of the room, the corner above your head, so that that elbow comes straight up. Back to your breath. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release your right hand down towards the floor. Press into your hand palm. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, slowly, the full length of your breath. Bring your left hand back down towards the floor. Take one moment and come into down dog. So tuck your toes under. Send your hips up towards the ceiling. Ooh, draw your belly closer towards your thighs. You can take a generous bend of your knees and then start to pedal through your heels. Maybe you pedal through both at the same time, working to straighten your legs. Maybe it's one and then the other. How much can you keep your chest, your upper body squared to the mat? Oh, that's what that was. Okay. Great. Keep your left foot on the floor. Inhale your right leg up towards the ceiling. Keep that chest squared to the mat, so don't turn out towards that right leg. Then we're going to draw that right knee forward. Release it down on the floor. Release your left knee back down towards the floor. Untuck your toes. As we just come into a hip opener, you can stay all the way down here if it feels right for you. Create that length from your spine, or if it feels a little bit better, you can lift yourself up. Really press that back knee into the floor and find a squeeze of the glute. You'll start to create a nice little stretch on the quad. We can even find a twist right here. So turn towards that right leg. Make sure you're not collapsing down into your twist, so still finding length. Still pushing those hips forward. Look back. Can you see your left foot? Let's bring an extra stretch into that left quad by bending the knee. Oh, you can just hang out here with the knee bent, but if your right hand can reach back towards your left toes, go for it. And then once you've got it, open that chest a little bit more. Knit your rib cage back together, draw your belly in. Press that back knee down towards the floor, opening the front leg hip. Stretching the back leg quad for 2 more breaths. Great work. Gently release your foot back down. Make sure you don't let it fling to the floor. carefully untwist. Go ahead, bring your hands, palms back down to the floor. Tuck your left toes under and lift your knee up. Go ahead, send your right leg back to meet with the left, coming back into down dog. Once again, work, see if you can be in down dog, if you can get a little closer towards getting those heels, both heels on the floor. Ooh, finding that big stretch through your calves. Just gonna tuck my shirt in like a winner. Great, go ahead, plant your right foot down, inhale your left leg up towards the ceiling. Make sure you're not opening your chest to the left side, so chest stays squared towards the mat. Let's go ahead, draw your left leg up, shift the weight forward. Oops. Bring your left foot down to the mat, release your right knee, untuck your toes. Remember, you can stay down here, but take that rounding out of the back. Find some nice length, or lift yourself up. Ow. Make sure that front knee is not going past your toe. Wow. Wow, this side is much tighter. Okay. Just hanging out right here with your breath, enjoying what your body can do today. Let's find that twist again. So go ahead, turn towards your front leg. Make sure you're not collapsing down into your twist. Look back over your shoulder for your back foot. You can keep your hand at your hip and on your knee for a little bit of bracing. Go ahead, bend that back leg. Relax your shoulders from your ears again. Relax your mind, relax your jaw, relax your breath, and see if you can reach your left hand back and grab hold of your right foot. Once you've grabbed hold of it, open your left shoulder, open your chest, press your back knee down to the floor, and hips are still going forward. Big stretch in the quad, big stretch in the front leg hip. Take 2 more breaths. Awesome. Gently release your back foot. Don't let it fling down to the floor. Bring it down carefully. Untwist. Release your hands down to the floor inside of your foot. Go ahead, tuck your back leg under. Lift that knee up. Nice little runners lunge, and then once again send your left leg back, come into down dog for the last time. Go ahead, walk your feet forward to meet with your hands, and walk your hands back to meet with your feet. We'll take just a moment in this big dangle. Big stretch on those hamstrings. Keep the weight towards your heels and send your hips up towards the ceiling as much as feels good for you. Work to eliminate the space for light and air between your upper and lower body. Whether you're in an awesome straight line and you're feeling really open and you can find a big forward hinge like me, or whether you need to bend your knees and sandwich your belly on your thighs. Just making sure you're sending your hips towards the back of the room, that you're not bringing any extra wrinkles into the back of your neck. It's okay if your fingers don't touch the floor. You want to avoid just forward hanging and not having any sort of support right here. So if you find yourself forward hanging and a big rounding of your back, I want you to bend your knees as much as you need to, even if you're in a really wide sort of tabletop, but with your belly on your thighs, so you can make sure that there's weight in your heels. All right, take your time, roll yourself up gently, and then heel toe your feet out a little bit wider. So heels out, toes out, heels out, toes out, till your mat's width distance apart. And we're gonna lower ourselves down, into a big squat. Awesome. Let's lower ourselves with intention and carefully. So inhale your arms up overhead. Pull your belly in, weight in your heels. Exhale, swan dive down to the floor. Or forward fold. Bring those hands to the floor even if they're out really wide. And then carefully walk yourself in to your squat. It's okay if those heels lift up. Maybe your heels are lifting up so much you need to shift the weight from side to side. Maybe you can open your feet just a little bit wider. Maybe you just have the balls of the feet to the floor. We're just going to hang out here for 2 big breaths. Work to press the outer edge of the pinky toe to the floor and release those glutes. 1 more big inhale. Then on your exhale, release your hands down towards the floor. Take your time, bring those knees down. Go ahead, shift your hips over to the side. Send your legs out in front of you. Take your time and let's lay down on our backs. It's time for Savasana. You can open your arms as much as you want to. Maybe you're looking for a little more grounding. 1 hand on your heart, 1 hand on your belly. I like to keep everything close towards the center line of my body, believing that it makes it easier for the blood to circulate if the extremities are just close by. Relax the back of your head into the mat as much as possible. Really work to let your tension that might still be there just melt off of your body. Take this time to use your breath and notice the expansion of your belly on your inhale and its contraction on your exhale. You're welcome and encouraged to stay here in this Savasana for as long as feels good for you today. I hope you already notice your body feeling different, your breath feeling lighter, more fulfilling, energetic than when class first started. Hopefully you've been able to clear your mind, even if just for a minute, to forget about everything else except this moment right here, your breath and being as present as possible. You're always welcome to come back to your mat, back to this class, back to your breath, simply by closing your eyes anytime that you need to, taking the same skills towards relaxation and breath and being in the moment from this class into real life. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I've said or we did today, I hope you'll reach out. Let's stay down here on our backs in Savasana. Continue to breathe in the moment, to think good thoughts. Till you see me again, I hope you also speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds. Make sure you nourish yourself from the inside out. Know that the light within me honors and sees and is so thankful for the light within you. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.